Good morning and happy Friday. Welcome back to another Thinking It Through with Tia, where we're just going to continue down our path of answering the questions that I've received from different people to help people move forward with whatever decisions or thoughts they have going on. As you can see, I have way more questions that came in this week. So thank you again for the extra questions that have come in. They have been added to the jar. And let us just get started. So let's see what we're going to talk about today. Can you talk about ways to remain positive when you just want to flip out? I do that every day. So yes, I can talk about that. So I know that seems like a really simple question. Well, it doesn't really seem that simple, honestly. It seems like a really relevant question. I think a lot of us kind of deal with that same kind of feeling. The things that are happening in life are coming so fast, back to back to back to back at you that it feels uncomfortable, right? And it feels like at this point, I just want to flip the table, right? I just want to flip the table because there's only so much that I should have to deal with, right? You'll find that as I answer these questions, a lot of the answers are really going to be very similar because there are some very core behaviors that you need to follow when it comes down to really finding balance inside of yourself and maintaining your own inner peace and inner calm. So, what I would say in this instance is you have to take a step back. It's funny because I talked about this week, a couple of times this week in different situations. So that's very interesting that this would be the question that comes up today. But I like to call it, give it a 10 count, right? Give it a 10 count. So sometimes you're in a situation that it just feels like this is the last straw, right? And sometimes it's just the first thing was enough for you, right? So one of the things that I would say to do is really give yourself a 10 count to get a chance to look at the big picture, right? Look at the big picture. What is the big picture for you, right? So if we take the example of road rage, right? So let's just use road rage as an example. Sometimes a person is driving, they're already having a pretty rough day or a pretty frustrating day. They woke up, they woke up late today. They stumped their toe on this bed this morning, and if you stump your toe, it's pretty much over. They made their coffee, but they left it on the top of the car, or just there could have been 1,000 things that happened to that person just this morning, let alone the things that could have happened in their life prior to just that day. And then they go out and they take the frustration with them onto the road, right? Now they're on the road, and the moment that something happens, like someone turns a little too slow, or someone, what appears to you, brake checks you or something like that, it could be the thing that spirals and pushes them over the edge, right? We have seen in past experiences that could be a deadly situation, right? And what is a temporary feeling or emotion became something that impacted lives forever. It could be that someone lost their life. It could be that someone lost their freedom. It could be that someone lost their career as a result of it. They could have lost a lot of things, right? So when I talk about the 10 count, that's what I do for myself whenever I'm presented with a situation that I want to flip, because I am human, and deep down inside, there are a lot of traumas that I've endured in my life. There are a lot of things that make me very, that could before make me very upset and make me respond. So I do understand it. A lot of people think I'm just way too peaceful and they think I don't really get it, but I do understand the concept of flipping out, right? However, what I want you to think about in the 10 seconds of this 10 count is, one, what really just happened? Is it really that serious? Is it worth my energy? Do I have somewhere to be? What will be the consequences of this action? Am I really that mad about this, or am I just having a bad day or a rough day? Right? And most of the time, you are able to talk yourself back into reality of saying, this is really not that serious. It's actually not worth the energy that it would take from me to even address it. And then I can calm myself down and I can continue along the path that I was going on. What's the result of that, right? When you allow yourself the time to come to terms with something, you're better able to see things clearly and not see things in a rage of or a fog of rage, right? When you can think about what I'm really feeling, like what is this emotion? Is this anger? Is this frustration? What is this feeling that I'm feeling? You could better identify how it's best to deal with it. If you can figure out what the potential consequences are, it can open your eyes to say, listen, this person blowing their horn at me is not worth my children not having a parent. It's not worth their children not having a parent. It's not worth me getting myself worked up into an even greater rage that the remainder of my day is completely destroyed. Because, like I was saying on that flip side, when I let myself go through the 10 seconds and I say, it's not worth it, right? By the time I get to 10, I don't even care no more, right? I go on about my day, and guess what? Most likely, I don't even remember that happened. I don't even remember that happened. So it comes down to really just making sure that you're fully aware, right? Fully aware of yourself and what's important for you. Like, you can't make every decision that you need to make off of somebody else's actions, right? Every action does not require a reaction, right? A negative reaction, right? So, there's a reaction to every action, or, I get it. But it doesn't always require a negative response. So when you see people that are walking around that just have peace in their lives and they just don't seem to care, as what people say, they don't care. Well, they do care, but their caring is different because they're caring more about themselves than the circumstances caused by others externally. So the best advice that I can give you is really to just care about yourself, right? Care about yourself. Choose the best choice for you. Choose what is best for you. What is going to turn out best in the end for you. It is not in your best interest to have to get bail money. It is not in your best interest to have to be in a hospital. It's not in your best interest to allow yourself to be pushed beyond bounds that you, in essence, can, in fact, control. Remembering that you have nothing to prove to anyone else. You have nothing to prove, right? It's nothing for you to have to prove to anyone. So you don't have to prove to them that you're more tough than them. You don't have to prove to them that you could do this. You don't have to prove to them that you're not afraid and you could stand up to them, right? You could prove to yourself that you're strong enough to just walk away. You're strong enough to realize that you matter more than whatever that situation is. It's not worth your energy. That time that you spend in anger, frustration, wanting to flip the desk or flip out on a person is only time that you take away from your own personal peace. So you have to figure out, do you want to be right or do you want peace? Which one do you want? Because if you want peace, then you have to take a step back and you have to really think through your situation. So I did go ahead and pull 2 cards today. So let's see what they're about. I did choose a different set since people wanted to see different cards. So I pulled cards from the higher self, meaning that the higher version of you, the part of you that knows what is best for you, is going to address these answers for you today. So the first question is, What advice? Well, how could they be helped in this situation? So regardless of what the question was going to be, my question was, how could a person help themselves in a situation based on whatever the question was going to be, because I didn't know what the question was going to be. The answer came out is decisions. So we literally just kind of talked about it. You need to gain clarity through decision making. That 10 count is making decisions. It's taking time to think through what you want to do, deciding what is it worth to you? What is it worth to you? The second question that I asked was really just about what advice would you give a person moving forward in a situation if they were faced with whatever the question was going to be, which now we know the question was, can you talk about ways to remain positive when you just want to flip out? And the answer to that question was self-awareness. So tapping into your higher self, questioning your routines and your patterns. So, and that was at 11:11 on the clock. So that in itself was a confirmation of what this says. So clearly, this flip out situation, people in these situations really need some time to focus on their own self awareness, really questioning why it's so easy to respond is what I'm hearing right now. Like, why is it so easy for you to respond in a negative way? Who do you think you need to prove it to? Like, who do you respond negatively for? Because what I'm seeing is that a lot of people have gotten themselves caught up into a lot of negative situations because of some pattern that they're currently stuck in, some idea that they have in regards to how they're supposed to respond, or how not responding. I'm hearing people think not responding makes them look weak or makes them look soft, is what I'm hearing. So this seems like this is for somebody very specifically. This self-awareness, there's some decisions that have gotten you in trouble. So really spend some time getting into your self-awareness, tapping into your higher self and questioning your routines and your patterns. Ask why you are so willing and eager to respond negatively to negative. It does not help the situation, which I know that whoever I'm talking to knows that it does not help the situation, but for some reason you just can't seem to stop yourself from responding negatively. So I would encourage you to really focus on thinking about the decisions that you make and stepping into self-awareness and realizing that you are more important than any other situation that could occur around you, and it is really never going to be worth it for you to step outside of yourself to respond in an extremely negative way, because it only hurts you. It only makes it worse for you. So if you're working towards gaining peace, you're working towards gaining perspective, get into some self-awareness and realize that peace is always with you. Most of the time, like I said before, do you want to be right or do you want peace? Sometimes your peace is blocked by the idea that you want to be right, or the idea that being right is more important. Being right is never more important than your peace. So I encourage you to find your peace in your self-awareness, to consider the decisions that you make. And do it for you. It's so worth it. It's so worth it, right? So I did have a question that came up last week about ways that a person could send their questions to me if they didn't want to necessarily type it as a comment, right? So in the description box, there is my email address, and it is titwtaccount at gmail.com. So if you have a question that you would like to have added to this jar, you can use that email and send that over to me. You can also access the Thinking It Through with Tia pages that are on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok. The links to those are down in the description box as well. You can submit your question through whatever mean works best for you. I look forward to being able to continue to address the questions that are coming in, and I hope that everyone has a magnificent day. So until next Friday, have a wonderful day.